Hey guys, it's your boy OC Phillips again here. And this is the kickoff of the Demystifying Digital series, where I decided to dive into the different layers of digital and break it down from my perspective and context. Mainly because I see a lot of people abusing and misusing digital terms and essentially miseducating people in the region. So this is my attempt to kind of break that down and educate people on what the different layers of business of digital are. More so from digital business right to digital transformation. Some may not work for smaller companies, but it may work for larger enterprise companies, right? So we'll jump into it. What is a digital business, right? And this explanation says the digital business uses technology to create new value in business models, customer experiences, and basically the internal capabilities that supports core operations, right? And the term is not necessarily for only digital brands, but it could also be for a traditional business also, right? So how are you going to create new value in your business model? And a lot of people would have to figure out what type of business model they're in, because there are digital business models along with other business models. So essentially, how do you deliver value to your clients and get paid for it, right? Gartner, large consulting firm, says that digital business is the creation of new value chains and business opportunities, right? That traditional businesses can't offer. If anybody knows me, knows that I speak value chain every day. And I speak business opportunities across the digital landscape. And a digital business offers that. How does that digital business work in a global village that your traditional brick and mortar, your traditional business can't, right? That's kind of spark that type of thinking. Common elements of our digital business really focuses on creating new value, like they said before, and using digital to drive growth, revenue, or performance. Either way, whatever matters to you most, whether it's market share, whether it's profit, it really depends on what you're into business for. Having a digital business or digital business model actually helps that, right? Also, digital business also use existing technologies to cut costs. A lot of people automate mundane tasks, automate processes, right? Gather and provide a better customer experience. We all know it's about that, how your customer experience your brand digitally or your company, right? And digital businesses kind of focus on the competitive advantages that technology gives them. For instance, your website is a 24/7 sales person, right? How much would that cost if you had to pay physical staff or pay human resource to do that, right? Whether it's reducing overheads, improving in efficiencies, or it's providing new value, whether it's a new revenue stream, whether it's a new offering, a new product, a new service, based on what you've gathered or based on what the market is asking for, right? And digital also allows you to embrace the concept, right? The cultural shifts that it requires, which is always difficult, the change management that requires, the implementation and the management of digital services, mean that you have to have the right people. Don't use your IT guy as a Swiss Army knife and think that because he could fix laptops and servers, he could come and do digital and build out a strategy and take your business to the next level. No, right? So you're looking at necessitated organizational restructuring. Beautiful, especially as new roles created in IT give greater input, right? So we're saying digital should be created in new roles. There should be somebody in charge of digital marketing, somebody for digital strategy, somebody a chief digital officer, because digital isn't always fall in the realm of general technology. You know, there's IT and there's digital technologies, there's information technologies, information communication. So there's different levels of technology that you need to do, right? And then, of course, it allows you to explore new business models, right? In short, a business model is how your company generates value, deliver it to a customer, and gets paid for it. So there's a difference between business model and an operational model, right? So explore new business models that put the customer experience at the center, meaning how does a customer be able to interact with your business digitally, and the experience is just as good as brick and mortar, in-store, traditional, or even better, right? Meaning that you have to answer all their questions, their queries. I mean, frequently asked questions, you have to put out blogs asking questions or answering the questions that people are asking for, right? So they say people are often willing to spend more time for spend more for an exceptional customer experience, right? That's not heavily translated in the Caribbean. Most huge companies fail at customer experience. Big brand banks, big insurance companies, fast food outlets. Basically, a lot of enterprise customers haven't really got down that customer experience, especially in Trinidad, right? More so in the wider Caribbean, right? Making it a key differentiator in the digital economy. So digital basically makes your entire business consumer experience, what I want to say, makes it what you should build it around. The end goal is always to deliver that exceptional customer experience, whether it's digital or whether it's otherwise, right? Business models that align with this focus will eventually center on digital services. So you could sell digital products, digital services, or however you choose to monetize the digital asset, right? Since digital is increasingly the experience that people prefer. So a lot of people don't even realize that, hey, my experience with a brand is digital. But largely consumers don't really look at experience in digital or non-digital, but they just look at it holistically. So now that we're under lockdown and the world is under lockdown and people don't really want to go out as much, would they get that same experience if they go to your website or if they go to a digital platform, whether it's a social media or something else, right? So essentially, you need to have a model for that or a strategy for that. Meaning, is it on-page strategy means what they do on your website? How do your user experience, your user interface navigate them? How the breadcrumbs are that they can easily move through your site and make a purchase? Or offline, how do they get that information if something that requires you to be hands-on? How do they book a call? How do they get a consultation? How do they understand that you are the person that has the solution to their problem, right? So we're going to take a quick look into what digital business models are. So here we have a digital business model map, right? And they say digital business model might be defined as a model that leverages digital technologies to improve several aspects. So you notice everything ties into what we said before, with what is a digital business, right? So I don't want people to mix up a digital business and they're doing digital transformation, or think that a digital business may mean that they need to start an entire new business, right? And this is from how the company acquires customers to what product or service it provides. A digital business model is really when digital technology help enhance its value proposition, like said before, right? Value proposition, value chain, and you're going to hear these things all over. But value is really dependent on what you provide and how your customers perceive it. Because people buy where perception of value exceeds price, right? So basically in digital business models, you have e-commerce. A lot of people sell products, or a lot of people can sell services. A lot of people would sell things like courses or digital products. A lot of people could sell that. You could also turn e-commerce into services, meaning that somebody pays you electronically for your service, right? And you deliver that service remotely. On demand, you have on-demand models like Uber, Lyft, that now where you could go onto a cell phone or any kind of device and you demand the service now, whether it's something to eat, you want to move here, there. Then there's subscription-based things that you pay on a monthly basis to get value, right? A big thing about Netflix, a lot of people say that Netflix is good because there's no ads. Nobody's trying to sell you anything, right? Netflix is a safe space that you could just consume and continue consuming. Unlike YouTube, that is free. But the value in that is when you pay for something, you don't want to feel like you're being sold over and over. Because everywhere else you turn digitally, somebody's trying to sell you something, right? Freemium model, of course, they give you something for free, let you learn it. And then when you get hooked on that product, like what I'm using here, Canva, when you get hooked on that product, then it kind of upsell you into buying a different level of that product, right? So you have Spotify, MailChimp, who gives you like free emails up to a certain amount, right? Peer-to-peer, two-sided marketplaces. Airbnb has a two-sided marketplace where they bridge the gap between homeowners who want to offer a space and people who are looking for cheaper rates, right? Same thing with LinkedIn. Businesses are looking for corporate people or proper human resource, and people are on LinkedIn looking for opportunities, right? Ad supported, Google and Facebook, they build their whole business model around those things. And basically, they really build an ecosystem that lets you say, here's what, come enjoy the ecosystem and we'll charge you for different things, right? So that's ad supported. Open source model basically is a platform that says, all right, we are open source. We're not hiding certain things. You could use our platform to build other things. Use our code, use our framework to build other things in your business, and then we would upsell you down the road, right? And then, well, hidden revenue generation is kind of, this is a tricky one that a lot of people don't understand, because a lot of people only like to monetize or only think that they can monetize an actual product. But you could actually monetize other things when you learn trends, data, how people operate. And you could just use that and generate new revenue in different ways, right? So what is a digital business versus an e-business, right? A digital business, as it says, distinct from an e-business. An e-business typically leaves existing business models intact, merely using technology to gain efficiency, right? Which is what a lot of businesses are doing now. They really leave their existing business model intact. All right, we have physical sales people, sales support, and they have like 4 different people that has to pass through or has a touch point in the sales process. E-business typically leaves those models intact, right? And a digital business really saying, all right, how are we going to take this technology? How are we going to take this CRM? How are we going to take this software, Salesforce, whatever it is, Zoho, different frameworks? How are we going to take those things? How are we going to say, all right, this now allows us more free time? Do we now relocate resources into a new department? Do we create a new department? Or do we create a new offering totally to give to our clients? Or how do we use technology to kind of differentiate ourselves in the industry, right? So there's the kind of difference between a digital business model and an e-business model. All right. So digital businesses focus more on how technology allows companies to create new value and experiences that differentiate companies and give them a competitive edge. Now, basically, you see this 3 or 4 times in the presentation because I want to drive it home that this is different to what digital transformation is and different to what a lot of other things that people think are, right? So we look at Uber's digital business model or Uber as a digital business, right? So Uber capitalizes on the widespread adoption of smartphones. I think smartphone penetration globally is at, if not an all-time high, right? I don't have the exact stats for that, right? But they utilize a business model that allows them to say, all right, everybody has a phone in their hand. How could they access transport on demand from that device, right? Traditional taxi company must own and maintain that. Uber says, all right, we're going to use technology to eradicate that. And we're going to just sit there at a layer and people with cars who are looking for revenue, people who are looking to move from point A to point B, how do we bring them together in a platform, right? And then Uber cements its place in a digital business because at its core, the platform is digital, right? Even though they have a head office and stuff like that, the platform itself is digital. That's why they could roll out in multiple markets, right? That connects people and drivers at massive scale through the internet, right? While creating an experience that improves what was previously available to people, that on demand, that I don't have to walk out the road and go to a taxi stand, right? That driver come home by you, wait, take you from point A to point B and potentially bring you back, right? Netflix, again, like we used earlier, right? Good example of that. Switch from an e-business to a digital business, right? Netflix used to do an inventory management system when they were mailing DVDs, right? Renting that. Until they have a full framework, a platform that you could go on now and all your content is there. And they will continue disrupting themselves until they start to make now Netflix original content. Because a lot of people realize that a lot of other platforms are moving their content from there. Disney Plus comes back with it. Amazon, who bought MGM. So a lot of the content that was generally on Netflix, you will see already the last date is July 30th, because other platforms are taking back their content. So Netflix continuously has to be disrupting themselves, but they have the platform, they have the framework using digital, and basically their business model is that, right? Disney, right? A lot of people didn't understand how Disney could have this, but this business model complements that of a traditional model, right? This RFID tags that allows Disney to see where you are, what you're going to purchase, how does it take you to different parts of the park, right? And basically, it really, Disney uses that data to always improve that experience of going to a Disney park, right? Whether it's trends of adults and ages, you could activate your actual Magic Band weeks before, right? And kind of plan out how you're going to do, or how you're going to experience Disney, right? And with this, Disney now has data that they could continue using to keep your experience. That's why a lot of people say they keep wanting to go back to Disney. So a lot of people who buy different things, Disney will take down the trends. They would use that, and they would even go as far as to having scents. So it's known that Disney, parts of the park that you go, certain smell that they push through the vents to make you feel like you want to do something. They play with your senses, right? All of that is driven by data, right? So, and like you could and say, at the end of the day, guests have an experience that moves fluidly between digital and physical, right? So that RFID bands tell people where they could go, where they can't go, where they could access, where they can't access, make it easy for them as they navigate the actual physical Disney place or Disney park, right? So, in closing, the main characteristics of digital businesses overlap with the concept of digital transformation, right? Which uses a customer-centric focus, but they are not the same, right? So, digital technologies, right, in operational systems and business models, right, is what you need to kind of not blur the lines on, so you can know what you're saying, you can know what your business is going ahead. And this is why having the right people in this space could kind of guide you, because you're going to crisscross and overlap, and then you're going to say, hey, why digital cost so much? And then you already spend this type of money, and then you wouldn't be able to spend the money with somebody who could fix it, right? So a digital business is the end goal, right? And digital transformation is the process that companies undergo to get there, right? So this last bit is a really, really, really important part of it. Digital business is the end goal, and digital transformation is the process that companies undergo, right, to get to be in a digital business, right? So this would tie into our other slide, where a lot of people saying that, hey, digital transformation, yeah. But the truth is, transformation in its purest form means that the end doesn't resemble the beginning. So there's nothing in a butterfly that tells you that it was a caterpillar, right? So same for digital transformation. You can't just slap on a form on an existing site. Then you're really just being an e-business. You can't just slap on something in an existing business model and then call it digital transformation. It's not that, right? So I hope this clears it up. As I say, this is the first in the series. I don't want to take up too much of your time. But basically, here is the first step of demystifying digital. What is a digital business? And we're going to take a deep dive into the rest. Thank you, guys. Like, subscribe, follow all the channels, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, ocphillips.com. And more importantly, leave your feedback. I'll be happy to have it so I can continuously improve and deliver value and help people in the region.